Good morning, all of you. Welcome to the science class and welcome again to the second part of chapter 13 Light, Shadow, and Moon. And in this video, we will read about eclipses. The earth and the moon are opaque objects, as we have already read in our first video. What are the opaque objects? They can block the sun's light and cast their shadows. The shadows of the earth and the moon are called eclipse. There are two types of eclipses, solar eclipses and lunar eclipse. First, solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs when the sun, moon and the earth are in a straight line, as you can see in the picture also, with the moon between the sun and the earth. If you look at the given figure, you will realize that the solar eclipse always occurs on a new moon day. The shadow of the moon falls on the portion of the earth and therefore we cannot see the sun at all. We have total solar eclipse in these parts. In some part of the earth, only a part of the sun can be seen. So all these places we can see a partial solar eclipse. The eclipse is over once the moon moves out of the light from the sun to the earth. Then we could never look to the sun directly during the solar eclipse, as it can cause harm to our eyes. Then lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth and moon are in a straight line with the earth between the sun and the moon. In the figure, you can see the position of the sun, earth and moon, and this happens only a full moon night. Hence, a lunar eclipse always occurs on a full moon night. When the earth's shadow covers the moon completely, we have a total lunar eclipse. If it covers the moon only partially, we have only a partial lunar eclipse. The eclipse lasts only as long as the moon is the shadow of the earth, and once it moves out of the shadow, it shines brightly once again. The eclipse may be as short as a few minutes or maybe as long as a few hours. Moon, the natural satellite. The moon is the natural satellite of the earth. It revolves around the earth and also rotates on its own axis. It takes about 28 days to complete one revolution. The moon is very close to the earth as compared to the sun and the other planets. It is about 3,86,000 kilometers away from the earth, and it is much smaller than the sun. Moon shines because it reflects the light of the sun, and this is the reason why moonlight does not have any heat. We can see different sizes of the moon because of the changes in the position of the earth. Phases of the moon. The moon shines as the brightest object in the sky, but it does not give out its own light. It only reflects the light of the sun to us. Depending on the position of the sun, different areas of it reflect light to us on the different days, and that is why the moon appears to change its shape every day. And the different shapes of the moon as visible on the earth are called the phases of the moon. As you can see in the picture also, these are the different phases of the moon that is visible to us. The surface of the moon is very dry and dusty, and it is covered with the high mountains, plains and craters. Craters are the ditches that are formed by the meteorite hits the moon and the tides. As we know that About 3/4 part of the earth is covered with water, and the moon revolves around the earth. It pulls the water of the seas and oceans of the earth towards its, giving rise to the tides. When it attracts the water from the sea towards it, it gives rise to tides. Tides are the waves occurring in the seas due to the gravitational pull of the moon. Although the gravitational pull of the moon is very less compared to the sun, but it is very near to the earth. It attracts the sea water towards it, and there are two types of tides: high tide and low tide. When the surface water of the sea rises, there is a high tide, or also known as spring tide. And when the surface water of the sea falls, this is low tide or neap tide. Approximately every 24 hours, there is a high tide followed by a low tide. Now let's read about the artificial or man-made satellite. Artificial satellites are the man-made objects which revolve around the earth, and due to the balance of the two effect, a satellite stays in the orbit. Velocity or speed in the orbit, the gravitational pull between the earth and the satellite. Most satellites serve one or more functions. They can serve communication, navigation, weather forecasting, and environmental monitoring. Communication satellites help us to send messages and TV programs across the globe. Weather forecasting satellites connect data about the clouds and the storms and other geographical informations. And this data helps in weather forecasting. Scientific satellite, they collect data about outer space and other planets. Astronomers use these formations for their further research of the universe. Then position fixing satellites, they are used by the aviators or mariners. They are very useful for the safety of the aeroplanes and the ships. So that's all in this chapter. Thank you.